under a lot of pressure, okay? Just quit, right? Wrong. I tried that 4 times. Fall semester sophomore year was absolutely chaotic. Okay, actually this is where I'm gonna throw in another life lesson. And then came third year. Things changed again. And I chose to get myself the hell out of that environment. Anyways, I told my parents, Ana, khalas, like I've gone insane. I only had in mind to do 2 things and 2 things only. Hello everyone and welcome back to my YouTube channel. For those of you who don't already know me or for those of you who are on my channel for the first time, hi! My name is Yasmin. If you guys have been watching my videos for a while, you would already know that I go to McGill University in Montreal. And oh my god, you guys, do we have a lot to talk about today. So I just finished my 3rd year, my junior year at McGill. I still have a ways to go, but I think it goes without saying that the past 2-3 years have been quite chaotic. Looking back at it, I think I started uni pretty young, went through a pandemic, couldn't see my friends and family or go back home for a year, went through 2 spiritual awakenings, found a new sense of self, adjusted to a new lifestyle, readjusted back, but this time as a whole new person shaped by new experiences. So I decided that I wanted to make a sit-down chit-chat video with you guys just so I can share as much as I can about my McGill experience so far, especially in my junior year. For me and for you guys, you know, I just want to gather all my thoughts, and also I know of course so many of you are coming to McGill or Montreal to study, and I feel like this could be helpful. Maybe it'll give you an insight to what your life might look like or some experiences you might have, maybe some hardships you may face and how to overcome them. But before I get started, I just wanted to say that I split this video up into different categories: academics, work life, campus involvement, social life, mental health, blah blah blah, and you guys can find the timestamps in the description box down below. Okay, so let's start all the way from the beginning. Freshman year, March 2020, COVID hits, right? So that summer obviously sucked because I was stuck in Montreal while all my friends and family were back home. Sophomore year began. I also ended up spending that entire year in Montreal, but I'm not gonna lie, I actually had a lot of fun. Despite the fact that time was peak COVID season, so we were on full lockdown, we had curfew at 8 p.m. It was like such a harsh winter, it was just cold and gloomy. It wasn't it, you know? I would really describe that year as psychologically disturbing. But because I spent so much time away from home, I told myself that the summer after sophomore year, I would go back to Abu Dhabi for most of the summer, if not all of it, just because I needed to be with my family and I needed to recharge. So that's exactly what I did. So like I said, sophomore year was peak COVID season. I was a type of person, for some reason, I had so much COVID anxiety. Honestly, I used to always describe myself as an empath, you know, someone who feeds off of the energy of others. And I was also the type of person who always wanted to be out all the time with so many people. And because of that, the experience of living alone on top of the isolation that comes with COVID was obviously a very new experience to me. However, it did give me a chance to do a lot of self-reflection and also reflect on the power of my own thoughts, especially in such a gloomy time. You know, it really teaches you something about looking inwards and finding happiness and acceptance within yourself, because, you know, as proven, the world is not always going to give that to you. That year, I really learned to love my alone time and grow into myself. And I know it's so cliche, but I really do think it's a part of growing up. I genuinely feel I came out the other end stronger in the sense that I'm much more independent. But you know, despite all of that, I still felt like I needed a dose of home and family and comfort all summer long. So I know it's a given that you change when you go to uni, but no one tells you that you're constantly changing all the time, even in summer. So after I had my time, I felt like I readjusted myself with all those new experiences and all the changes that I had, and I genuinely felt so zen. Like I was just so content with myself on a spiritual level. And as a result of that, going into my junior year, I was extremely optimistic. I don't know how to explain this, but I'm very spiritual. I have a very strong intuition, and for some reason my intuition was just telling me that in my junior year everything would fall into place. But we'll get to that. But honestly, I also had a lot to look forward to. We were online for so long and we were finally going back in person. Also, the time that I spent on campus, I was a freshman newbie. Like, I didn't really know anything, you know. But this time, coming back in my junior year, I would be a McGill student. You know, like I said, I was feeling so content with who I was, and I saw a much clearer direction for which way I wanted to go in the coming semester. Okay. If you know me, you know that I'm someone who has a lot of school spirit. I mean, I literally have an entire channel where I talk about McGill. Anyway, since I joined uni, I've tried to get involved on campus. If any of you guys have watched my previous McGill videos, you'd know that that's something that I really advocate for, because I truly believe that your extracurriculars are the soul of your uni experience. I mean, in actuality, to a certain extent, it really does help you better discover, you know, what you want to do in life. What are your passions? What are your interests? What strengths can you work on? What skills can you build? Networking with people, blah, 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 blah. However, there has been a drastic change in my campus involvement from first year till now, and a big part of that is actually because of some drama that happened over the summer that I actually haven't told you guys about yet. But during June, July 2021, I was so fed up with the sorority that I was in. Like, it just became such a massive source of negative energy in my life, and you know, I didn't need that. I've said this so many times before, but in uni, you don't fit in. You find your place. You have the full power to choose. And I chose to get myself the hell out of that environment. Anyways, when I first came to McGill, I wanted to be part of a community, be part of a family, you know, to make this foreign place home. And at the time, I did it by joining the sorority. Honestly, given the fact that I wasn't in dorm, I don't live in the McGill area, a lot of my friends are from outside of uni, the sorority actually helped me stay very involved on campus. Like, first of all, it was a great source for networking. Like, I met a bunch of people, but at the same time, I had a couple different positions throughout my experience in the sorority. So you know, I was just very active on campus, despite the fact that I didn't keep myself in the Greek life bubble. When I decided to leave, I was still leaving a big chunk of my McGill experience behind. You know, it was my first community at McGill. So naturally, starting my junior year, finally going back to campus, I only had in mind to do two things and two things only. Meet a shit ton of people and do a shitload of things. You know, I really saw this as my opportunity to branch out and be a part of more communities at McGill. You know, I discovered my love for HR and philanthropy and other things through the sorority. So, you know, why wouldn't I translate that into other parts of my life or different things that I could do? Okay, so I'm just gonna tell you guys about the stuff that I got involved with on campus this year, you know, just in case it's something that you might be interested in. So first, I didn't really know what I wanted to get involved in, but then YouTube actually played a role. In one of my previous vlogs, I actually mentioned that, you know, first semester junior year, someone in the McGill Alumni Association reached out to me and asked me if I wanted to be a panelist for this event that they were hosting for students. So this event was part of their Life After Your Degree series. And they basically just wanted us to, you know, talk about our undergrad experience and offer some advice. All the other panelists were McGill alumni, and I was the only McGill undergrad, you know, who was there, you know, offering their advice and stuff. So like, honestly, I felt so honored. I was just really excited. I felt really blessed and special. I'm very happy about that. I'm thankful for that experience. But yeah, they found me from my YouTube channel. They recognized my involvement in like school spirit and all of that. So that was like a nice experience for me, but it was also a good opportunity for networking. So after the panel, the same person reached out to me again and asked me if I wanted to be a member of the McGill Alumni Student Engagement Council. It basically gives you the opportunity as a student to have a voice within the McGill Alumni Association. Generally, they just provide a lot of resources for students to learn from others and learn from alumni. For example, they have mentorship programs, LinkedIn crash courses, coffee talks with career advisors, students in sponsorships, you know, grad school experiences, finding your path, blah, 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 blah. But yeah, it's a good opportunity for student leadership, and I'm still on the board and I will be on the board next year. You know, we're just general members so far, so like it's so chill. But this experience definitely motivated me to get more involved on campus. However, I still didn't know what I wanted to get involved in. So in another one of my vlogs, I took you guys with me and my girl Sophia to the wine tour that was hosted by the McGill Wine Society. Honestly, I had so much fun that day. Like, we met so many people. It's such a great team, such a great community, and it was very wholesome. No one really knew anyone, but it was very family vibes. And I remember on the ride back, the co-presidents mentioned, hey, we're opening applications soon for our executive team, and you know, you guys should apply. So I thought to myself, like, why the hell not? Not gonna lie, I don't know jack shit about wine. You know, like I said, your extracurriculars, they're just there for you to have fun and to learn from and to help you. So when the time came, I interviewed to be the director of communications for the Wine Society. You know, I have a marketing minor. I already work in social media. I've worked with multiple startups before, so I have experience in creating a brand. If you guys know me, you know that I'm very big on community building. That's something that I'm very passionate about. So yeah, I just looked at what are the things I have and what can I offer. It's just a learning experience. There's a lot of give and take. But a piece of advice, I highly recommend you do at least just one position on an executive board during your uni experience. My first time was in first year in the sorority, and once I started my position, I realized that people actually put effort and work and like they take it seriously, and that's the first time I started to take that kind of work much more seriously. It definitely helped me build my work ethic. But the point is, there are 7 trillion clubs at McGill. Okay, so just have fun with it. Join the chocolate club if you want. Apply for any position that you have absolutely no experience in. Just give it a shot. Go and learn and have fun and make friends and make good memories and good experiences. Like, you really don't know what you could end up falling in love with. Trust. Anyways, I didn't start working for the McGill Wine Society until second semester. Honestly, I was so nervous about the Instagram portion of it all because I was just afraid that I wouldn't do a good job. But to be honest, I just let my creative flow and they gave me full creative freedom. And you know, sometimes I'll let my personality shine through the captions a little bit. So I had fun with it. It's also a good feeling to know that I improved and I have more self-confidence in this portion of the job and I can create and make designs and, you know, stuff like that. And you know, that's obviously something that I could translate later into life if I wanted to. So like I said, I didn't start working on the Wine Society until second semester. So during that in-between time in fall semester, I really focused on building a career path or finding a direction, and I tried to look for those opportunities through McGill. But we will get to that in the next portion of the video. So last but not least, at the end of second semester, so at the end of junior year, like literally a couple months ago, I got an email asking, you guys should really check your emails. There are always opportunities hidden in there. Trust. I got an email asking if I wanted to be an ambassador for campus and community engagement. So basically to be on the ACCE team for next year. So I've mentioned this before, but I used to attend some webinars or workshops that McGill would provide for us, you know, whether they be about time management, leadership, budgeting, motivation, whatever it is. My job on the ACCE team would actually be to host these workshops next year. So since April till now, we've had a couple training sessions, and you know, generally, like, I love public speaking and teaching and mentoring, presenting, and I definitely feel like I've strengthened those skills, and of course there's always room for improvement. When I was in the sorority, I actually used to host a lot of workshops, so this isn't something that's new to me, but you know, like I said, there's always room for improvement, and I definitely feel like I'm much better at it now. So for me personally, the benefits of my extracurriculars really translate into the work that I do now, but I'll get to that in the next section. Before my junior year began, I knew that I wanted to get a part-time job when I came back to Montreal. First, I wanted that sense of independence that came with making and managing your own money. Second, that feeling of making your own money is extremely rewarding. Third, I just want to travel a lot and do a lot of activities and have a lot of fun, and there needs to be a way to fund all these things. So yeah, I went out and I got a part-time job at a restaurant. Honestly, I wasn't afraid of balancing the workload of uni and having a part-time job because I'm not the first student to do it. Like, I don't want to say that everyone works because that's not true, but a lot of students have part-time jobs. Some of them even work at McGill, so you know, that's something that's definitely doable. However, getting a job, or specifically my job, really burns me out. Like, a lot of people think that minimum wage jobs are easy because they're minimum wage, but that's not true. It's actually very labor intensive, and so it's physically demanding, it's physically tiring. I'm not gonna lie, at the start it was vibes, chillin'. Like, I literally just worked 2 days a week and each shift was only like 5 or 6 hours, but eventually they ended up changing the management, so work picked up a lot. The thing is, when there's more business, there's more tips, which is obviously nice, but more business also means more shifts. In first semester, COVID was more of a thing, so like I said, the shifts were short, but when the regulations were lifted, my shift became 8 to 9 hours. Some of my work days were back to back. It was too much. Maybe for some people it doesn't really sound like a lot to you, but keep in mind that our business ran at night, so my shifts would be from 6 p.m. until 2 or 3 a.m. in the morning. You know, every single time I had to wake up the next day at 8 a.m. because I have other commitments. Like, I'm a full-time student, I have all these extracurriculars, and I haven't even told you guys about the rest of the things that I added onto my plate. So it was just very busy, very draining all the time. I'm not joking when I say at one point I was miserable. I would cry all the time. I was just under a lot of pressure, okay? I know the answer seems so simple, like, you hate your job, it takes too much of your time, you don't have time for uni, you're burnt out, you're tired, just quit, right? Wrong. I tried that 4 times! I tried to quit 4 times and my manager just didn't let me go. Something you guys should know is that there's a shortage of workers in Quebec, and even so, it's always hard to find a good worker. And you know, I worked there all year and everyone's comfortable with their job and their team, so there was obviously that added pressure of like, you know, you can do this, please stay, don't leave, and it's like, I was just kind of like, okay. But yeah, I eventually ended up quitting like a couple weeks ago. Trust, guys, I don't want what I'm saying to scare any of you, but you just need to understand one thing. You need to love what you are doing to ease the burden of what you are experiencing. For example, I love what I study so much, so I will willingly suffer at McGill for that degree. Like, I will do it. I love YouTube, so I will stay up all night editing if I have to, listening to my voice again and again. But to be honest, my part-time job, I wasn't passionate about it. But in the end of the day, despite everything, I'm honestly so grateful and so thankful that like I worked this year. It is a really good learning experience. I honestly learned a lot. There's so much that goes behind running a business and managing people that you wouldn't even think about. Like, I'm not exaggerating when I tell you I could be a restaurant manager. Like, that's how much I feel like I learned. It's also good for networking. You always meet a lot of interesting people. Speaking of people, my biggest takeaway from working in service: the customer is always wrong. Trust. Anyways, you also learn a lot of random life skills. I can fully disassemble an entire dishwasher, clean it from the inside out, and reassemble it. I don't know when I'm ever gonna need this skill, but I have it. Anyways, none of that was to say don't work. On the contrary, work, you know, at least once in your uni experience, even if it's for like a month or a couple of months. I would advise everyone to go out and, you know, get a part-time job or work. But if you do so, just be smart about it, learn from my mistakes, pick a place you know that you're going to enjoy being at, with a team that you know that you'll love. Only do it if it fits into your schedule. Other than that, if you don't have to work, don't work. If you don't need that added pressure, don't do it. At the end of the day, it is a commitment. Even though you're a full-time student and this is just a part-time job to you, for them, this is their business. So, you know, whatever you're gonna do, make sure you do it with passion, make sure you do it well. But yeah, that was my part-time job. And this actually brings me to my next point. When I first joined McGill, I didn't really know what I wanted to do. I just knew that I liked econ and business and environments and sustainability and all of that. So since I was starting junior year, I also knew that I wanted to get a bit more serious, get a clear direction of which way I want to go. It's very important to make the most out of uni in the sense that you're building your CV, building your skills, finding your passions, exploring career paths, blah 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 blah. So I major in international development studies. Honestly, I picked my major just because it felt like it resonated with me the most, even though I had no idea what it was about. It's a very interdisciplinary program and it really gave me the opportunity to, you know, express my passions and my interests in diverse ways. So you know, I'm so grateful, knock on wood, alhamdulillah, like I'm very happy. In my major, I can also take some management courses, and one of the classes that I took is called Social Context of Business. Oh my god, you guys, I fell in love with this class. The prof shaped it in a way where we were very free to express and explore our opinions and thoughts on different perspectives. He really inspired me and I really liked his line of work, so I decided that I wanted to get his advice. So I set up a meeting with him and I told him, like, I genuinely don't know what I want to do in life, but you know, these are my interests. I like development, I like business, I care about change, blah blah blah. And he told me that there's a non-profit that he works with and they actually have an opportunity and he wanted to share it with the class. So this non-profit is all about conflict resolution and non-violence. So like I'd be working as a peacemaker and as a coach. It was definitely up my alley. I applied to be a member of the organization. Honestly, I got so excited because it was the first thing that I applied to that's in my interests or in my field. So after I applied, I didn't hear back until later. So in the meantime, like I continued to work on myself. I fixed my resume, I opened a LinkedIn, like I'm still working on my LinkedIn, and I used McGill resources to apply to jobs and stuff. I've mentioned this before, but McGill actually has a career portal called My Future. You can use it to find jobs and internships, or if you want to just explore what other people are doing. It's also another way to network and connect with employers. That's literally what I did for the rest of the semester. It was just interviews, you know, just getting the ball rolling. Eventually in like January, I ended up hearing back from the non-profit that I applied to. I had a couple of interviews and then I became an official member of the organization. Like, I love my work, I love my team. Over time, my passion started to grow more and more, so I know that this summer I want to do like the most I can. Right now, I'm the co-leader of the facilitation team. All of that was just to say, don't be afraid of asking advice from your profs. You know, if they inspire you, just go talk to them. Even ask if they can open up any opportunities for you or lead you a certain direction, or that's what they're there for. Speaking of internships, guys, listen to me very, very carefully. Before you graduate, like I said, you need to build your CV, but you need at least, you just need one really good internship. Like, you can have many little ones and that's fine, but yeah, other than that, I've just been working on a personal project. If you guys have watched one of my previous videos, I mentioned that we recently opened an edible raw cookie dough business. So since I finished finals, that's what I've been working on. Me and my dad work on it together, and it's a lot of work, but it's also a lot of fun. Working in a restaurant for a year, you know, running the Instagram for the Wine Society, blah blah blah, they actually helped give me a good experience that I feel translated into the cookie dough business because I have more of an idea of what I'm doing. But anyways, if you guys are cookie dough lovers just like me, then feel free to stalk our Instagram. I'm linking it in the description box down below. It's getting pretty long. I've been talking for a while. Anyways, like I told you guys, I had in mind to do two things. Meet a shit ton of people and do a shit ton of things. So especially because of COVID, I really wanted to make up for that lost time on campus, like making friends and meeting people and partying and all of that. And also, again, you know, leaving the sorority, I just wanted to get out there and meet a bunch of more people instead. So that's what I did. Honestly, I'm so grateful and so thankful for the friendships that I made this year. And just for the people that are in my life. Honestly, talk about friendship involvement. My friendships changed so much from first year. Part of that is because of the spiritual awakening or whatever. Like I said, you find your place. I bounced around a lot with friendships until I truly felt comfortable. You know, since I learned a lot about myself, I knew what I deserved in a friendship and I knew what type of energy I wanted to allow in my life. Since I graduated high school to now, my close friend circle just gets smaller and smaller. Or maybe I'm just becoming more selective with who my friends are. Full honesty, I think that's the best thing you can do for yourself. They say when you hang out with a smoker, you become a smoker. When you hang out with a saint, you become a saint. You are who you hang out with. So when you're in uni, don't be so focused on making the most friends. Be focused on making the right friends. If you're someone who's so ambitious and you have so many goals, but you're only friends with people who just want to have fun all the time, or people who are gonna make fun of you when you try to work on yourself, you're never going to evolve. You're always gonna be in the same place. Trust. Okay, but just a second though. I'm not saying that you shouldn't have these friends. I'm saying you should have have a variety of friends and choose them wisely, especially the close ones. Choose your close friends wisely. I'm gonna throw in a life lesson here. You're never going to evolve into what you want to be if you're not nurturing an environment around you that's going to take you where you want to go. I've said this before, but McGill students are very work hard, play hard. You know, this year I've made a lot of different friends, and some of them were even the older kids. Honestly, a lot of my friends served as an example to me of how you really can do it all. I know that sounds so cliche, but it's true. Some people are really good with balance, and that's not an easy thing to do. That's not a skill that everyone has. Anyways, one of my friends, let's call her S, okay? Me and S, we were such a chaotic duo, especially in first semester, you know. I think we're just both so excited to get back into party mode and socializing and meeting people and just having a good time. Well, guys, I'm not joking. Sometimes I would have my online midterms or online essays due at 12 exactly or 11:59 p.m. If it's due at midnight, you know I'm not planning on submitting it until midnight. As soon as I finally submit and I'm obviously exhausted, I get a text from S. Hey, get dressed, you know, party tonight. And we'd still do it. We get up, shower, get dressed, and go party. It literally doesn't matter what time we come home or what time we'd sleep. The next day, we're up at 8 a.m. and we're getting our day started. That's called balance, boys. But I just have to point out, eventually in first semester, I started to do that a lot. Like, I'm not talking about partying, but just in general, I would make time for social events. But I just have to point out, when the work started to pile up, this balance, whatever I was doing, it was not sustainable. I couldn't keep up. I was sacrificing way too much sleep just to be able to do all those things. I was losing control of the balance. Okay, actually, this is where I'm gonna throw in another life lesson. When you are in uni and you need to make some decisions, I advise that you run your decisions by the triangle of uni life. You have three things: social life, uni work, and enough sleep. So the idea is you can only have two. For me, having the part-time job and uni and extracurriculars and this and that, and then wanting to maintain my social life on top of that, like, I just resorted to sacrificing a lot of sleep. Eventually, I just got so burnt out that even when I found the time to do all of these things, or I prioritized some things over others, I was so tired all the time that I couldn't even do any of these things efficiently. So moral of the story, don't make that mistake, guys. Life lesson: prioritize, prioritize, prioritize. I'm not saying that my priorities weren't in place, because they were, but I was so eager to make up for the lost time of COVID that when I would say no to a social event, I would feel so guilty, like, just between me and myself, even though I shouldn't have. Like, it's fine if I don't want to go to something if I don't want to go. Eventually I learned my lesson, because in the end of the day, you are the priority, you know, even before your studies. The lack of sleep affected my mental health just as it did my physical health, maybe even more. Like, I was just not at my best. I wasn't myself. I literally felt like I was just falling apart. Like I said, I really learned to love my alone time, and what I learned is that I have a social battery. Like, I need some time alone sometimes to regroup or recharge. Like, I can't be out and about all the time. I really wasn't making any time for myself. I wasn't making any time for the things that I love to do. The whole academic year, I know I was really lacking on YouTube, and that actually sucks, because you guys know it's something that I say I love to do. I always say, even if no one was watching my videos, I'd still make them anyway, because also it's something that I enjoy, you know. And like, every week would pass and I think to myself, like, ugh, I could have recorded this, or like, that was fun, that would have been a nice video, or this or that, or blah 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 blah. And every single week I just feel shittier and shittier about myself. Like, I'm literally called my mom crying one day, and I was like, I don't even do the things that I like, you know, anymore. So yeah, when you don't make yourself a priority, like, that also messes with your mental health. I told my parents, Ana, khalas, like, I've gone insane, you know, like, I need a gap semester, like, I need a break, like, I can't do this anymore. But then by the time that the second semester came around, I like chilled a little bit, and I had time to like reflect and make smarter decisions, and I became my priority, you know, just in the sense of sleep and peace of mind, you know. Other than that, not really. But this was especially because it was winter. Like, I've mentioned this before, but Montreal winter is just so harsh. It's harsh on the body, the mind, and the soul, especially if you're an island girl like me. If you come from a hot climate, get ready. I'm not saying this to scare you, I'm saying this to mentally prepare you. Second semester came along, I didn't feel the need to like party, woo. I was kind of like partied out. Like I was fine, I had fun. I really focused on giving my energy to people that I like to spend time with. I was so careful with who and what I gave my energy to, especially because during that time my energy is so sensitive. I didn't want to get burnt out again or drained again. Another thing, my dad and my sister were here for most of the second semester, so I also had a lot of family time, which I really value. However, despite all of that, I was still struggling. Like I was not there. I was struggling so much mentally. I lost all motivation and I forgot why I came to Montreal in the first place. Like I kept thinking to myself like, why am I here? Why am I here? Like what am I doing here? I haven't been in Abu Dhabi or seen like the rest of my family since August 2021. You know, it's been a year. There's always some time during this year where I'm just like, I need to get myself the hell out of this environment. But yeah, socially and mentally, that was my junior year. I knew I needed a break. Lucky for me, my second semester ended earlier than usual and earlier than most people, so I really had that time to just regroup, and I decided that I want to work on myself this summer. Summer is literally 4 months. That's an entire semester, so I'm treating this summer like my gap semester. I just work on myself, get my shit together. I want to establish things that have not yet been established in my life, so by the time that the next semester starts, my system is already up and running, you know, like I'm already on the go. Anyways, moving on, we have academics. Honestly, in first year, I don't feel like I really had a hard time adjusting. This is mostly because I was in the IB program in high school. The material and the grading is obviously harder in uni, but when it came to workload and essays and all of that, it wasn't something I couldn't handle. Like I was already prepared because of IB. Another thing, some of the material that I took in first year I was also already familiar with because of IB. Overall, first year is just more chill, it's more laid back. But I'm talking about this in the perspective of a student in the arts faculty. If you're in science, in the first 2 years, they're really weeding people out. Like if you can't handle the pressure, if you're not cut out for it, then you probably won't progress after first or second year. Overall, you know, alhamdulillah, I was very happy with my grades first year. I don't know why I expected the absolute worst. Everyone tells you that when you're in first year, your grades are gonna drop. You know, like you're in for a shock, especially if you were like the superstar back in high school. And honestly, that's probably true, but that's not necessarily the case. Like something I tell you guys often, and I will continue to tell you, is don't have too much pride to ask for help. Profs know that their classes are hard. That's why they provide resources to help you. That's why you have office hours, TAs, past papers, etc, etc. For me, I definitely had more confidence with myself and my academic abilities in first year, especially because like I really fell in love with what I was studying, and I wasn't afraid to ask for help. So my work ethic was just definitely much stronger. Look, the thing is, grades do not define your intelligence, but like it also does serve, at least for me, it serves as a benchmark just to know generally like how am I doing. You know, from fall to winter to summer, like my grades just kept improving. So for me, like that was just a good indication that like I'm doing well. So when COVID hit, the grading and testing and learning system was obviously different online. For me, nothing changed much in freshman year. It was just like a different finals schedule, and most of my classes didn't have finals anyway, so like I wasn't really affected. But when I got to second year, I definitely felt the struggle for several reasons. First of all, I get it, like everyone's adjusting to the online environment, students and profs. But for some reason, every single prof acted like their class was the only class that we had. It was just work on top of work on top of work on top of work. It was like as if they're trying to overcompensate for not being in person. Like I don't know if that makes any sense, but fall semester sophomore year was absolutely chaotic. That semester was also my first time taking 5 classes at a time. And look, for some people, 4 or 5 classes a semester doesn't really make a difference. For me, it makes a huge difference. For me personally, I just rather do 4 classes because I have a little bit more flexibility and I can put enough focus into each class rather than just doing 5 classes. Like that's just too chaotic for me. Third, it was also my first semester in the management faculty. So like I told you guys, I'm an arts student. I'm studying international development and economics. I also have another minor in marketing. After first year, I applied to have a minor in marketing in the management faculty because like we're allowed to do that. And I got in. So second year was when I started my management courses. In my major, I'm also eligible to take some management courses because like I told you guys, it's very interdisciplinary. And Desatel just works differently. There's definitely much more group work, many more presentations, completely different grading system, but also much more competition. And I think part of that also stems from the grading system. In second year, I was introduced to the bell curve. So basically, the bell curve is just a policy that states if a class has an average that's higher than 74.99, everyone's grades get curved down. So what that means is if the class performs really well and you get a really good grade, there's a possibility that your grade is gonna drop. Other than all of the COVID adjustments, second year honestly was pretty chill. I ended up raising my cumulative GPA by the end of the year, so like overall I had a higher grade, which, you know, I was happy about. But like I decided that I didn't want to do classes, you know, summer of sophomore year. Like I told you guys, I just wanted to recharge. And then came third year. Things changed again. I've never been the type of person who was comfortable in like big exam rooms, so when tests shifted online, I really got comfortable in that environment. Like I definitely had much less test anxiety. I just adjusted very well. Like we eventually went back in person and I just forgot what it was like to test in such a stressful environment or like around such stressed students. As you come closer to finishing your degree, your classes get much more challenging, so it was just frustrating because like I was putting in a lot of work and effort. I just didn't feel like my performance on the exam was reflecting that accurately. It just didn't reflect how much I really understood. And luckily for me, like I didn't really have many exams. Like my classes were mostly like writing or assignment based. Like there were a lot of essays and stuff, like I could express myself. But yeah, that was just like a struggle that I faced. Another thing, junior year, first semester, I took 5 classes again. The thing is, there's no escaping it. My degree is 4 years, and if I want to finish on time, I'm gonna have to be taking 5 classes at some point. But yeah, like I told you guys, just because I was juggling a lot, I was taking so many classes, like I was just so stressed the out. Every day I would wake up and I think like, alhamdulillah, like I'm so happy, but at the same time, like I was so miserable. Like I told you guys, at one point I was my only focus and I was still just so emotionally and mentally and physically tired. It's not about whether or not you can handle it, that pressure or those emotions. It's just not a nice feeling. But you know, third year is a lot of pressure because like you kind of have to get everything figured out. I don't want to say everyone has things figured out because that's not true, but that's your prime time. Summer between junior year and senior year, that's peak time for you to get an internship, and honestly that's also your last chance before you graduate and get out into the real world or the work life or whatever you want to call it. That's your last chance. Next, grades wise, they were fine, they were good. You know, I told you guys grades aren't important, it just serves as a benchmark for you to know how you're doing. But in my third year, my grades dropped, so what they were telling me is that I'm not doing that well, and that's completely fine. Like your grades are gonna go up and down all the time, and like especially because it was like nothing significant, it's fine, but it just didn't feel good to me because also I didn't feel good. I think it's fine. It's also important not to be so hard on yourself. It's literally not the end of the world. You're gonna make mistakes and you're gonna learn from those mistakes, and that's fine. But yeah, overall I think I summed up most of it. I think my biggest takeaway is don't bite off more than you can chew. And what that means is know your limits. Look, you're not going to find your limit until you push yourselves towards the boundary or maybe even beyond the boundary. There's a trial period in everything in life, and you're always gonna go through that before you finally stick to the thing or you finally find the thing that works best for you. Looking back at my junior year, like I told you guys, alhamdulillah, I'm so grateful. I had the best time, I made the best friends, like it was just a great experience. But at the same time, I was also constantly running like a machine and I hated it. But yeah, now I'm older and wiser. Well, my camera shut off before I could finish that sentence. I really hope that you guys found this video helpful or informative, or you know, you feel like it maybe helped better prepare you for some things. I know I've literally been blabbing forever. I'm so excited that it's summer. I'm so happy that I really am getting back into YouTube and getting back on my schedule. I have so many ideas and so many videos that I want to do for you guys. I'm going to try my best to be posting twice a week since it's summer. I'm also going to be making a variety of content. Like I know I talk a lot about McGill and college life in Montreal, but I also want to diversify it a little bit, show you maybe a little bit more of my life. As you guys can tell, I'm also someone who likes to talk a lot. I have a lot of thoughts, I have a lot to say. I'm definitely gonna try to express myself as much as I can more with you guys, because like I told you, I just want to be my most authentic self on here, and I just want to inspire all of you to be your most authentic self and just have like the best time of your life. And yeah, bye guys, I love you.